Hi guys, hope you're well. Welcome to take 50 of this video. For some reason, something has been happening every time I try to shoot this video. But here we are. I hope this is the last one. My kids are awake. So if you hear any screams, please disregard. Okay, so yesterday I started talking about self-awareness, the topic of self-awareness, which is a topic that was chosen by you guys for us to discuss. And yesterday we started with definition and the benefits of self-awareness. So if you haven't seen that yet, please go to my post. The post I did yesterday on Instagram or Facebook, and you will find this there. So today we are going to talk about 5 tips to getting started with self-awareness. As I said yesterday, self-awareness is not just about you knowing yourself, what you're attracted to, knowing your values, your strengths, your weaknesses. It is also about how other people perceive you with regards to these things I've talked about. So now we'll go to tip number 1. Tip number 1 is meditate. Meditate, or as I like to call it, pause and reflect. Meditation, or pausing and reflecting, is just you taking time out of all the noise in this world, out of your schedule, to sit down and be quiet for some time with your thoughts. Just be quiet with your thoughts. Because ultimately this is what centers you. This is what makes you present. There is so much that's going on out there. But when you are in that moment of quiet, that moment where you get to reflect and pause and just do nothing, not go to work, grab a book, do this. No, just be quiet, pause and reflect. That centers you, that calms your day. Some people do this by breathing exercises. Some people have apps. Other people who find it hard to be just still, meditate when they are doing things that give them a sense of serenity and calm. Some people run, others wash dishes. Yeah, others just do activities that help them think and use that time to think and ask themselves, what am I doing? What went well? What went wrong? And how can I change it? Or what can I do better? Start with as little as 15 minutes to just pause and reflect and meditate on your actions, on your day-to-day activities, okay? On your reactions, and on just the things you love and want to grow into. So that is tip number 1, okay? Tip number 2, I would say, is ask for feedback. And be deliberate about asking for feedback. You know, there are people who have been very well placed in our lives and are able to give us, I wouldn't say, okay, it's good feedback, yes, but they wouldn't always tell us what you want to hear. So these are the people you ask for feedback from. Remember, it is not easy to be on the other side of the receiving end, but you choose to do this so that you also get to see how are your actions as a person being perceived. Do you think that something is your strength? Well, really, how it looks out there, it looks like something else. So be deliberate about it, okay? So I've said ask those people whom you know are uniquely positioned to just tell you how it is. Mostly it's people who are close to us. It will start with your family members, your spouse, your best friend. Just go out there and ask for feedback and start small. Start by asking small questions, like just be genuine with me. What do you think about this with regards to me? So don't start with dropping bombshells, because you also want to make this other person comfortable with giving you the right feedback, the feedback that you need, not the one that you want to hear. Okay? So go out there, seek for feedback. Remember, it's not easy to receive feedback for most of us, but be genuinely acknowledge the feedback. Do not be defensive. I'll tell you of will I say, is it a process or a game or something that we learned sometime in some training with a few guys, and it's something that I've kept doing even with my friends when I ask for feedback. So this session is called a considers and continues session. So this is me sitting with this other person and asking them to tell me what they think about me in whichever area, what I should continue doing, and what I should consider stopping. So they are called continues and considers. You are not supposed to say, no, I do that because you're not supposed to be defensive. You acknowledge it, you say thank you, then you go and think about it. So someone would tell me, Susan, you should continue being assertive and standing for this because that is what is in you. That is what comes out every time you're speaking about something that you have strong conviction on. But you should consider doing or stopping this thing because maybe people will end up using you or what. So you all you do is acknowledge there. Yeah, you should be ready to accept the feedback. Sawa? Good. 3. Do a self-audit and be brutally honest with yourself. Do a self-audit. I have so many questions on self-audits, but I will choose to give you just 5 questions that you can later on sit down and just look at what you think about your answers. Should you continue like that? What has it affected in your life? What has it improved in your life? What has your answer stagnated in your life? Okay. So, question number 1. How often do you sit down and analyze your successes or successful days to see what went well? How often do you do that? Then question number 2 would be the opposite. How often do you sit down and analyze your failures or bad days to see what went wrong? Okay. I'm sorry, something just happened. I have to, yeah. So how often do you sit to analyze your successes and your failures? So question number 3, do people tell you what you want to hear or what you need to hear? Because you need to be very clear about that. Do people walk on eggshells when you're around? And why is that? What is it that makes people do that? Okay. Question number 4. How do you feel when someone you know succeeds? Do you applaud them? Do you think, oh no, they're ahead of me? Do you congratulate them? Do you feel if they can make it, so can I? So how do you feel? And number 5 would be the opposite. How do you feel when someone you know fails? Do you celebrate? Do you console them? Do you go and try to analyze with them what went wrong? Just how do you feel? So try and answer those questions. Then you can go ahead and even ask those people who are close to you to answer these questions for you and just tell you from where they stand, how do you rate when it comes to these questions. Then you can even go ahead and ask those people whom you think don't like you to answer these questions for you. And then there are those people that I know that whose characters you emulate. They have character traits that you like. So once you get your feedback, try and look at those character traits of the people you like and see whether your feedback aligns with those character traits. Then see whether you will improve, whether you'll continue, or whether you will stop with this trait. Number 4 is keep a journal. A journal is different from a diary. So let me just give you the difference. On a diary, you would write everything in there, everything about how your day was, all emotions, all stories, everything in there, just for mostly memory's sake and maybe to just let out any emotions, frustrations. It's a very good let out tool for some people. But a journal is different. A journal is mostly used to track patterns, actions, and thoughts. How do you do this? You use a journal to identify actions. Maybe you have, I'll give an example, maybe you have an item on your to-do list that has to be tackled, or a couple of items that have to be tackled in a day. Then at the end of the day, in your journal, what you'll write is maybe what did you do? Or if there is something you did before, is what are the outcomes of that which you did? Are they good? Are they bad? If they are good, what can you do to improve? Or if they are bad, then what can you do differently? What can you stop doing? And things like that. Basically, this is for just tracking patterns. If you have been doing things the same way for a couple of times, you'd still go back to your journal and say, I had this issue the other time. What did I do? Did it work? Didn't it work? And I'd tell you for a fact, most successful people, big investors, use a journal to just write down, even before they take up an action, before they invest, they will write down the reason why probably they'd want to invest and what steps they think they take towards investing, so that our time would come later on, maybe at the point where you want to invest and now it looks like it's not as serious a thing as you had thought, and you'd want to see what advised this move. So you'd go back to your journal. And so there are people who would not feel very comfortable to start writing a journal. I have 4 questions that I'd want you to tackle at the end of every day. Just 4. Just answer. Just write them down. Pen and paper, or pen and book. Paper will get lost. So pen and book. Write them down. Question number 1. What went well today? Write that down. Question number 2. What went bad? Write that down. Question number 3. What did I learn from whatever went well? Is there a learning point? From whatever went bad, is there a learning point? And question number 4, how can I do better? Is there anything to improve? Have you reached the helm of whatever you wanted to do? Or what else can you do better? Just those 4 questions. And then as you continue writing this, you get better and better at it. Okay? You eventually get to doing gratitude lists and things like that at the end of the day. So this is basically, apart from self-reflection, it helps you just know and understand you as a person and the things that you have control over, what you have no control over, and just brings you more awareness of you as a person. And these 4 questions that I've told you, funny enough, there are things that I use in everyday life, even with my kids. My daughter goes to school. So every day when she comes back home from school, or I come back home from work, first thing is, hi, how was your day? She will definitely say good. We are so wired to saying that. My day was good. Question number 2. So what about the day was good? What made it good? Then she will go ahead. The first day she would think about it. You know? Because when the same thing I've said, there are so many things that we do that are very superficial, or it's like we're just wired to doing them. Habari yako mzuri. You know? How are you? I'm fine. And then you start talking about your problem or something that's bothering you. You've gone to a doctor, the doctor is asking you, how are you? You're unwell? But you say you're fine. So we are wired to respond in some sort of way most of the times. So she'll say, my day was good. Then I'd ask, so what made your day good? What about your day was good? What made it good? And then she'll start thinking, The first days it was difficult. Then she got used to it. She got used to my question. So after asking what was good, I'd secondly ask, so what didn't you like about school today? Maybe she'll say, someone hit so-and-so, or someone hit me, or a nail scratched me, or something like that. And then, so if a nail scratched you, what were you doing? I was not looking. So what would you do differently next time? You see, things like that. So it becomes a way of life, a way of reflection, and a way of just understanding yourselves as a person. Sawa? Tumeelewa? Good. Number 5, make time to clarify your values. Make time for yourself to clarify your values. There are those things that you value in your life more than anything. Sameheni kuku zangu tafadhali. There are those things that you value in your life more than anything. Make time in your busy schedule to look and go through your values over and over again. There are these things that society has placed on us. Things like you need to own a big car, big house, your kids need to go to a big school, and all these things. But you know, all these things do not bring all of us satisfaction. Not everyone is satisfied with these big societal norms. There are people whom to a degree, yes, will be very satisfied, but not everyone. So that is why I'm saying you need to go back and look at your values of who are you? What are you doing here? What were you placed on this earth to do and become? Because that is whom you are. That is you being self-aware of the person that you are and what speaks to you and what does not speak to you. So I would suggest, even once a month, take time, 30 minutes in your calendar. Put it in your calendar. Diarize it. Put a reminder for this time that you have to go through your values. Call it value time, call it value addition, call it any name that would make you feel good. So go through your values and just see where you are. Are you off track? Are you chasing things that are ultimately not you? Are you chasing things that society has, forced you to chase? Become very aware of things that matter to you. Okay? So set time aside. Set time aside every month, brainstorm, think about where you're going. Think about what would make you satisfied, what would make you feel like you lived a fulfilled life by being you, the person that you ultimately are. Okay? Good. Now, thank you very much for watching. I would like to hear your thoughts, your comments. If any of you would want guides, I have about 5 guides that are out right now. Thank you for the guides who have already purchased. I have a time management guide. I have a self-discovery guide. I have a guide that shows you how to identify your gifts and talents. I have a guide for strengths, a SWOT analysis guide, basically strengths. It helps you to identify your strengths and weaknesses so that you are able to identify whom you are as a person. Let me know what you think. Let us keep sharing, and God bless.